in a significant development from Bangladesh, a court in Chittagong has once again denied bail to the ISKCON priest Chinmoy Krishna, arrested on sedition charges for allegedly disrespecting the Bangladeshi flag. This decision has sparked widespread protests and international concern, highlighting tensions around minority rights in the country.
No relief for the jailed Hindu monk Chinmoy Krishna, who has been booked under sedition charges in Bangladesh. But at least today his lawyers could appear on his behalf, albeit in an atmosphere of intimidation and fear. Allahu Akbar chants were raised as Chinmoy Krishna lawyers were escorted out of the Chittagong court after the court rejected his bail plea.
और सभी लोग आशा कर रहे थे कि 9 वर्ष में चिन्मय कृष्ण प्रभु को मुक्ति मिलेगी, वो आज़ाद होंगे, लेकिन 42 दिन के बाद भी जब आज हियरिंग हुई तो उनके बेल को रिजेक्ट कर दिया गया। लेकिन एक पॉजिटिव खबर ये है कि एटलीस्ट आज उनके जो 10-11 लॉयर थे वो लोग उनके पक्ष में खड़े होकर कोर्ट में उनका पक्ष रख सके। बांग्लादेश गवर्नमेंट को इंश्योर करना चाहिए कि चिन्मय कृष्ण प्रभु को जस्टिस मिले।
Even inside the court, there was sloganeering during the hearing. Amidst this hostile atmosphere and the denial of bail, a second olive branch was extended to India by the Bangladesh Army chief, who in an interview said, ties with India are based on give and take. Dhaka will not take any action inimical to New Delhi's strategic interests. India is an important neighbor, but ties need to be based on fairness. As far as Chinmoy Krishna is concerned, his lawyers will now at least be able to move the High Court for bail, but questions over the due process of law and the fairness of the justice system remain.
Well, I think it's very sad, it's tragic, it's a travesty of justice that Chinmoy Krishna Brahmachari has been once again denied bail. And, even the reason for his arrest, they've charged him with a very serious charge of sedition, but there's no evidence that has been given.
While the huge concern is that Chinmoy Krishna will have to spend more time in jail, legal experts are hopeful of him getting bail from the High Court. Till now, the legal process wasn't moving forward, but now his legal team hopes for an early hearing in an appellate court as they devise a strategy to get Chinmoy Krishna out of jail. With camera person G.D. Shankar in Kolkata, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
Well, joining us now, Pushpita Gupta, human rights activist and a member of the United Hindu Alliance. Thank you very much for being with us. We're also joined by Salim Samad, the senior journalist from Bangladesh. Pushpita, the fact that that bail has been denied this time around to the ISKCON priest, how would you look at that? How would you respond?
Good evening and namaskar, everyone. To be honest, although I'm a very positive person, and I knew it's going to happen. They're not going to not give him a bail. But this morning I was hopeful, thinking because 11 of experienced lawyers traveled from Dhaka to Chittagong, and they were probably last night we had a discussion, and we thought we are very prepared for him to get a bail, but obviously. No, he didn't. But this is actually a lot of our devotees in Bangladesh, a lot of our members in Bangladesh, a lot of Hindus in Bangladesh. They are really heartbroken. They are crying. They're saying, "My heart is bleeding." And actually, it's an emotional what is called blackmailing towards a community. Absolutely, because since he is not a Hindu like me and others, he's a special person, and he himself lives a very special life because he's a monk and he doesn't live like normal Hindus. And he has
for one
his
moment,
own.
I'm joined by Advocate Apurva Kumar Bhattacharjee, lawyer for Chinmoy Krishna. Advocate Bhattacharjee, on what grounds was your client denied bail today?
Today is we moved before Metro Session Court in Chittagong with 11 lawyers of Supreme Court, practicing lawyer. We moved before the Session Court on behalf of Chinmoy Krishna Brahmachari ji we before the court we we says we are good. This case completely false, fabricate, and this section in this section 124A, 120B,
No,
153A.
sir, could you just tell me what did the court say? I'm trying to understand the grounds for denial. I know what you have argued.
Which only says court only says rejected. There is no ground.
Okay, what is your next legal step going to be?
Next year we are higher court in high court. High court we prepared all certified copy.
Got it. And Mr. Bhattacharya, my next question to you,
copy, then we'll
the
go
allegation
to the
is of sedition. Why do you assert that there is no sedition involved?
Excuse me.
Why do you assert, or how do you assert, that there is no sedition involved because the allegation is of sedition? How do you counter that argument?
Yeah, we argued. I argued about Chinmoy Krishna. There is no reject allegation about Chinmoy Krishna. It is false, fabricate, and no seedling.
All right. Okay, we'll come to you in a moment, Salim.
All section.
I'll come to you in a moment. I'll just ask you to stabilize your camera a little bit. We are live on air. I'm joining now by Salim Samad. Mr. Samad, what is your understanding of what happened in court today and the arguments on both sides? I'm still unclear on what exactly the sedition charges are all about. What has he done to get sedition, which is a very strong charge?
Now, thank you for having me in the evening. I was in the morning show in NDTV this morning, and I have mentioned before, I am also a victim of the sedition case, and I was in prison and I was tortured, blah, blah, blah. And it is for 100 years of the British law, the legacy, that the lower court cannot give bail for sedition, which also happened with me, and of course it is also with Chinmoy, that the lower court in Chittagong cannot give bail. It never happened in 100 years. So the court, it is a good news that the lower court has rejected this case. Then only they can move to the higher court, and it will definitely, they can definitely move into the higher court. But of course, the sedition is obviously, all through, when the British this Swadeshi movement, this sedition charge is always actually it's false, just to harass and of course trying to make somebody not to be in the public. By doing that, the government for the last, for 100 years, had made that person a hero. So obviously, Chinmoy will be a hero. I will not say that he has also have a lot of footings in the region. And of course, there are a lot of people who do support, even the media in Bangladesh, especially in the Dhaka media, they have supported Chinmoy, and they have raised this question. Even the editor of a Delhi Star, Mahfuz Anam, has also raised the issue that why he is in prison when others are supposed to be in the prison instead of Chinmoy. So you can understand the situation is very different. Of course, Chittagong is not a very good place for, of course, this case. Even if it was in Dhaka, it would have been a very similar case. The High Court, of course, has never refused any bail, especially for sedition.
Mr. Samad, the other really contentious issue, of course, is Sheikh Hasina and Bangladesh's demand that she be extradited. At the moment, it doesn't appear that New Delhi is at all going to entertain that. Do you believe that in terms of progress in ties between Dhaka and Delhi, that could be the one issue which could really result in the fissures which exist perhaps becoming even bigger?
Yeah, I think you are very right. The bone of contention between Delhi and Dhaka after the 5th of August is obviously centering Sheikh Hasina. And of course, I have told this before on your show, maybe in the other show, that Sheikh Hasina will not be brought to Bangladesh. So there is nothing to worry. She will be taken to the ICC court in Hague. where the United Nations Human Rights Commission will press a report. On the basis of that report for committing crime against humanity, killing of the students, that is good enough to be produced in the court. So Delhi will not be able to stop her or refuse ICC court not to send her to The Hague.
Let me just go back to Pushpita Gupta. In the last couple of days, ma'am, there have been some fairly positive signs from Bangladesh. For example, the Bangladesh Army chief saying that Bangladesh wouldn't do anything that goes against India's strategic interests. Secondly, their foreign affairs advisor has also said that, while there may be differences, Bangladesh would work with India because the relationship is very important. Do you think that the relationship, which has seen an element of tension in the last several months, is now stabilizing?
This is actually really contradictory. For me, it's a contradictory statements, because there are students, there are what is called advisors in with UNUS government, and they are completely they constantly. I have been attending many media interviews where they were attended as well as BNPs, and I did not see any respectful status or and comments they made about India. Rather, they calling, even today, even in the court, they bullied India in the court today. And probably the lawyer can explain you better. When the media was taking their interviews, I heard that there was bullying India. The India's dalali cholbe na. This the India cannot interfere in our own businesses and stuff like that. And they're constantly attacking on Hindus in Bangladesh, and then they also say attacked Hindu dore jabai kor. These are against India. How can you have how can you believe in? How can you even expect them to have a good relationship with India when they are not even respecting their
okay.
what is
Let me
called
put that across to Salim
flags.
Samad. Last word to you, Mr. Samad. Bangladesh has said that they're going to be dealing with Myanmar, they'll be dealing with India, and obviously with China as well. India has huge concerns over China. I'm not going to repeat what those concerns are. But do you believe that Dhaka will balance its old relationship with India along with its close economic ties with China?
Obviously, yes, sir. In fact, you have to understand and you have to admit, Delhi has to admit that they have put all the eggs in one basket for the last 15 years. That was the biggest mistake they have done. This is not the Chanakya's foreign policy that has been taught several thousand years ago. I mean, look at the United States. They have put eggs in different baskets. They have given few eggs in the Awami League basket, our BNP basket. So that is how they have it. So
sure.
that's one of the reasons. Yes, China may not have done like that. They have, of course, they have invested in other political parties by putting other eggs into BNP and Jamaat also.
All right, fair point, Salim Samad. I take your point over there. I'm going to wrap this up because just a little while earlier on, I spoke to Riva Ganguly Das, the former High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh. She's also been seeing the developments there very, very closely. This is what she told me. Well, joining us now to look at the developments in Bangladesh, former High Commissioner to Dhaka, Riva Ganguly Das. Thank you, ma'am, very much for being with us. Firstly, how do you react to, the denial of bail to the ISKCON priest? This has been a, long-running legal battle for him. He was represented today, but bail was not granted. Do you believe that that's strange?
Well, I have followed this particular case, and I did see, the government side lawyers say that normally in sedition cases, bail is not given very easily. So in a sense, it's probably as per the law. I'm not that familiar with the legal process. But today he was represented by 12 lawyers. I think some of them flew in from Dhaka as well. And arguments were held for 30 minutes. I saw on I checked out on Bangladeshi press that the lawyers, his lawyers on his side were given the opportunity to put the case before the judge on why he should be given bail. But according to the government side lawyers, that normally in such cases, bail is not granted. But of course, we don't have any of the details right now.
This is being seen in some quarters here in India as being part of a trend where minorities are targeted in Bangladesh. Bangladesh itself flatly refuses this. Where do you see the claims made by many in our country and what Bangladesh says as far as minority rights post the change?
Well, whenever there's political turmoil in Bangladesh, minorities being a vulnerable group, they live in isolated villages, often without much communication. They are a small group. They often come under attack, and we've seen in the past also minority attacks during vandalization of temples, Durga Puja, and of course, after the 2001 elections, there was absolutely month after month, there were attacks on minorities. So they are a vulnerable group, but that does not mean that they should be attacked. It is the duty of any government to protect all its citizens. And at least on the face of it, Bangladesh government keeps saying that they will protect. We've also seen visuals of, other communities protecting the places of worship of minorities, which includes, not only Hindus, Buddhists, Christians, and those Ahmadiyas, the Sufi saints, which have also been vandalized. So Bangladesh is going through a lot of political turmoil right now. Law and order is there's very thin presence of the police on the ground. The army has been given magisterial powers. I haven't seen them exercising those powers very much. And as the army chiefs said in an interview yesterday, that they would like to go back to the barracks as soon as possible. And they are hoping that the police would come back to do their own duty.
Yep.
So in a situation like this, vulnerable groups do get caught. And according to the Hindu Buddha Christian Oikko Porishad, the HBCOP, more than 2,000 attacks on Hindus have taken place till now.
Is the extradition request for Sheikh Hasina a potential deal breaker or showstopper in terms of restoring normal relations between India and Bangladesh?
Well, at a year-end interview, I think yesterday or day before, the foreign policy advisor, Tawhid Hussain, has said that, it's not the only issue that India and Bangladesh are dealing with. He has said that, there are several bilateral issues that Bangladesh wants to deal with India. And Sheikh Hasina's extradition will run parallelly with other bilateral issues, and the Foreign Office has always said that they're looking at strengthening relations with India. It goes without saying that we are neighbors. We share a very long border. 5 of Indian states have international borders with Bangladesh. There are people-to-people ties between our two countries. There are family ties. There is $18 billion of business. A lot of investment in Bangladesh is the largest recipient of India's, lines of credit, the concessional lines of credit. So I think it's in the interest of both countries to move on and normalize the relationship as much as possible.
At the same time, ma'am, this is very much a new Bangladesh, and I think it's for us to understand that. But a lot of it perhaps rankles. For example, there are new textbooks in schools over there which say that Ziaur Rahman declared independence in 1971 and not Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Now, Ziaur Rahman in 1971, as I recall, was a major fighting in that war. And the words "father of the nation" have been removed while referring to Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Now, India has given Bangladesh her independence, and it's something we are immensely proud about. The identity of modern-day Bangladesh is associated with what happened in 1971. Is this something that we can easily accept as a nation? Not that we can do anything necessarily about it. I just wanted your opinion.
It is entirely up to them how they want to write their history. And we all know that Bangladeshi politics has, ever since 71, been extremely contentious. And this is not the first time that they fought over history books. After Sheikh Mujib's assassination, multiple coups took place. And then finally, when General Zia established himself as the leader, at that period also the history said something else. So I have met many people in Bangladesh when I went there as High Commissioner, who said that, till the age of 2025, we didn't even know what was really India's role in the 71 war. And Bangladesh has gone through this in the past, but in order to move forward to become a modern nation, they have to deal with these historical issues and have a national reconciliation on these national issues. Because, for a country to go through this process of changing history every few years, because this is what really leads to the contentious politics that they have. And this debate is not new, that, whether Ziaur Rahman declared independence or Mujib's recorded message on Bangladesh Betar. So I think this kind of reconciliation of actually what happened in history has to take place in that country, and it has to take place within their own system by themselves.
Bangladesh has also said that they would be looking to balance relationships. Yes, India has an important role, but they have to manage their relationship with Myanmar. But they would also be looking to work with China very closely. Again, it's entirely their choice. But given the fact that there is, some would suggest, a power vacuum in Bangladesh at this stage, would New Delhi be looking at concern at the prospects of China having a greater say in Bangladesh, whether it's through economic policy, investments, or even providing arms to Bangladesh, something which they've already started doing?
China has been providing a lot of arms to Bangladesh. In fact, the Bangladeshi Army, Navy, Air Force, everybody, they're very heavily dependent on Chinese arms. Large quantities of arms they buy from China. Even during Sheikh Hasina's time, she had excellent relationship with the Chinese leadership. During Xi Jinping's visit, $24 billion worth of projects were announced. It's a different matter that only $10 billion was actually signed. And finally, I think a little above $2 billion of worth of projects has actually been disbursed. But there is no doubt that China is doing iconic big projects. So that, I think, is a trend which started earlier. Bangladesh has signed on to BRI. Now, with the uncertainty which is going on and the political turmoil which is going on within Bangladesh, this is a situation in which everybody will try to take an advantage. And but I personally feel that the Chinese would first be interested in, protecting their existing investments, all that, the promises that they have made. And they will, of course, they are not an immediate neighbor. They do not have the issues that we have with Bangladesh. And likewise, they do not also have the intense people-to-people historical links that we have. So, I think we stand at a very different level. Our relationship, of course, when Sheikh Hasina was in power, was at a different level. But even, now, given the long border, the medical tourism which takes place in India, the historical links, the family links, even now there are families which are divided by the international border. I think the two are very different. And China's priority now will be to protect its investments more than anything else.
All right, Ambassador, thank you very much for speaking to us, sharing your thoughts on the present situation in Bangladesh and the future, really, of the relationship between our two countries. Thank you very much indeed.